Exodia, OBLITERATE! Hello guys and welcome back to another cold episode. On today's episode, we're talking about Exodia. The new Exodia Incarnate, as well as the new Millennium support in particular, have breathed life into a once forgotten and dead archetype in Exodia. Someone can tell me how I'm supposed to say that, but it's fine. Exodia is a very famous, popular, iconic, that's the right word, iconic card, and a very iconic set of cards that have been limited pretty much since the game's inception. Like, genuinely, since it came to the States, or to pretty much anywhere other than Japan, this card has been at 1, which is a crazy legacy to have. And yeah, that's pretty much it. That's all I gotta say about these guys. The Millennium cards say, hey, what if instead of drawing all of the Exodia pieces, what if we use the Exodia pieces to do anything else? And that's why we're here. Let's quickly go over the card by card, starting off with the most important card, Millennium Ankh, which says, show 5 Forbidden 1 monster cards from hand, deck, and or face-up field, and then special summon an Exodia Incarnate from your extra deck. Shuffle the face-up monster cards you control into the deck, except the Exodia monster. Sorry. Then shuffle the face-up monster cards you control into the deck, except Exodia monster cards, whose original levels are 10 or higher, and Millennium monster cards. Also, you cannot special summon them for the rest of this turn. After activation, shuffle this card into the deck instead of sending it to the grave. Now, there's a lot of things to talk about with this individual card. First of all, it is a special summon, which means it's not a fusion summon, which means you cannot reborn the monster that is summoned off of this, the Exodia Incarnate. 2, it is a special summon after revealing the monsters from those locations. It does not fusion summon them by sending them to the graveyard or shuffling them back into the deck or doing anything like that. You just reveal them and special summon the guy. 3, this means it cannot be ashed or belled or fucking anything. You can just have at it. There you go. There's the guy. Very interesting. So all of this basically means that, like, no matter what, if you see Ankh, you basically get to summon this guy, guaranteed. Now, why would you do that? Why is this guy worth playing? What does he do? Well, first of all, he can't be destroyed by opponent's card effects. Cool. He has 0 attack. Why is he good? Well, because, guess what? During damage calculation, you can just make him gain life points equal to your attack. Now, during the end phase, during your standby phase, you also lose 1,000 life points. So that is something to keep in mind, right? If you go first, turn passes back to you, inevitably, and you go down to 7,000 life points. So you can't just immediately attack your opponent to kill them. Keep that in mind. However, it also has an additional effect where once per turn, not a hard once per turn, you can negate a spell trap effect. Sorry, negate the activation, not an effect. Which means you can negate things like field spells or continuous spells, and they will go to the graveyard since the activation was negated. Pretty good. On top of that, during the end phase, this is probably the most important part about this. During the end phase, set an Exod or Obliterate spell trap from your deck. What are we setting? Exod Fires of Rage, which says if you control a level 10 or higher Exodia monster, destroy all cards your opponent controls. Bye-bye. Away goes the field. Adios. So long, sucker. Then on top of that, you can banish it in order to either add a Forbidden 1 monster or shuffle 5 Forbidden 1 monsters from grave and or banishment into your deck. So basically what this allows is, if this is in your grave, you still get to put back the Exodia pieces to potentially use them for future cards. One thing of note, you do need your cards either in your deck face-up field or in your hand in order to use the Ankh. So if they are in grave or banishment, where this guy can grab them from, you can't actually use the Ankh. So it's a little bit iffy there, but it's not that big of a deal. And that's like the main combo. The rest of the cards basically just facilitate said combo. Millennium Shield, Sengenjin wakes from the Millennium, and Golem that guards that Millennium all do the same thing in hand, where they put themselves, they reveal themselves in hand, and then put themselves into the Spell and Trap card zone. And then from the Spell and Trap card zone, they special summon themselves and do a thing, which is search a card. Shield grabs Ankh, Golem grabs Wedju Temple, which we'll talk about in a second, and this one grabs another monster. That's pretty much it. That's what they do. They're pretty good. And since they special and then search, it means like, yes, you can Ash the special summon, which does kind of suck, but that's pretty much it. And you can't like Imperm it, which is incredible. Basically, the entire deck just like doesn't care about Imperm, which is quite impressive. Wedju Temple, the temple, says during your main phase, you can place a monster from your hand into the spell and trap guard zone face up, and then you can place a Millennium monster from your deck in your face-up spell and trap guard zone as a continuous spell, which basically means that all of these guys are now able to be placed face-up. You could also potentially put the Heart of Blue Eyes, which is also a Millennium card at every time, but there you go. On top of that, it gives them the Crystal Beast effect, where they basically put themselves back into the back row if they would be destroyed instead. So it's okay, but it's not. We're only playing 2 because it's fairly decent, but it's not exceptional. And that's pretty much it for the main combo. Heart of Blue Eyes, must say, you discard it to just add an Onk. So it's just more ways to Onk. So this guy, and this guy are all full combo. So there's 9 basically cards that just do the combo by itself without any other restrictions. So there's that. Also, real quick, all of the Millennium cards have to either reveal a Millennium Onk or pay 2,000 life points to special summon themselves. This is not just a free special. Forgot to mention that. And that's pretty much it for the deck. The deck just functions very well. We're also playing one Obliterate Blaze, which basically says, like, hey, just kill your opponent. But it's kind of slow. It's clunky. It came up, I think, once. But it's still very important to have, all things considered. And that's it for the deck. The rest of these cards are just big blowout cards, because we don't actually want to like hand trap our opponent. It's not very advantageous for us to hand trap our opponent a whole bunch. So instead, we're playing a big set of blowout cards. Droll, Maxi, Fua, Nibiru, and Super Polymerization are our going second cards. We're also playing Shifter. Shifter just happens to be really advantageous, since it doesn't really matter. Our cards aren't really going to the graveyard, and if they were, it doesn't really do anything, so there's that. And if an Exodia card were to be banished, again, this grabs from banish, so it's not that big of a deal. Then we're also playing 1 different Dimension Ground, as well as 2 Triple Tactics Thrust and a Triple Tactics Talents, in order to, set the different Dimension Ground and just, like, kind of play around a few other things. So lots of room for non-engine. However, there is one thing that's in here that is technically engine because of the way that the cards work. Azuroon. Azuroon can be set off of Silhouette Rabbit, which is something that you can actually do with the Millennium cards instead of just leaving them on field, because they don't really have any on-field effects. So you can just link them off into Silhouette Rabbit, which then gives you the interruption of Azuroon on top of whatever else you were doing. Because Onk would send everything else to the graveyard, you can't really end on, like, IP Masquerena or something like that. So there you go. Let's hop into the replays and show you how this deck performs. Alright, so here we are going second, and yeah, that's a pretty good going second hand. We also did draw leg. Happens. Anyway, we fire the Fua, and my opponent reveals that they're on Dark Magician. Let's see who the real Yugi is. It might be me. I'm not gonna lie. We're gonna go for the Heart of the Blue Eyes in order to grab up Onk, and that is full combo. So we're just gonna immediately activate Onk and reveal all 5. That's just, we're revealing here. And then out comes the Eternal Soul. My opponent uses the effect, realizes that I don't negate it, and dies. So, yeah, I guess I'm the real Yugi. Smile. Good game. Alright, so here we are going first, and this is our first actual real game. Let's see what we can do. We drew Onk and Onk, which is great. So we're going to activate our Onk in order to grab up Onk. Yeah, that's pretty much all it is. And then, that's right, just click the button. That's the whole combo. There's nothing really to think about here. Anyway, we're going to set the Exod here. The Exod Fires of Rage. And then we're going to fire the Maxi. Because of course we are. My opponent reveals that they're on... It's Yubel. We all know it's Yubel. I know it's like opening of the Spirit Gates, yada yada. It's Yubel. We all know it's Yubel. And out comes the Yubel monsters. So not really too surprising. What's funny about this is, well, the super polymerization. That's what's funny about this. Tragically, just kind of like invalidates our entire existence. So that really sucks. But what I was going to say is, what's funny about this is they literally don't have an out to the Exodia Incarnate, which is crazy. Except they do. So they're going to deal a bit of damage and then just pass the turn and, well, tragic. We did draw 2 of the pieces of Exodia, so there's that. We're going to go for the Sengagen here. They're going to say no. I'm like, okay, well, I'll just activate the Onk here. Let's reveal a leg, an arm, a leg, an arm, and then the head. And out comes another one. They're going to imperm. I'm going to negate. Realistically, what I should have done is change the Exod there. I don't know why I didn't. It would have forced the Ubel to miss timing, which would have been nice. That's all. It just would have been nice. It wouldn't really have done anything, but it would have been nice. Anyway, we reset the Exod and then just pass the turn. Anyway, they draw a Nightmare Throne. Yeah, okay. They go to combat. Now, you might be wondering, wait, doesn't this have like an effect? Yeah, it does. The problem is, its effect is really bad. At the end of the damage step, if this card battled an opponent's monster, inflict damage to your opponent's monster equal to that monster's attack. And if you do... Sorry, let me say that again. Inflict damage to your opponent equal to that monster's attack. And if you do, banish that monster. So, yeah, I don't have any attack. That's all. So they're going to attempt to do a few more things. They're going to bring back the Spirit of Ubel in order to grab up their Nightmare Pain. I'm going to go for the Azure Rune here. They're going to then special summon. They're going to pop. They're going to activate its effect in order to special summon out the Ubel, and then go into the Unchained Soul of Yama and activate its effect, grab up the Sharvara. They're going to special summon the Sharvara here by popping this guy, and then they're going to come out, and out comes the Anguish, and I'm going to Azure Rune that because this guy can just eat my Exodia, which I don't want. Anyway, they do get to set the escape, and I'm like, coolio. And then out comes this guy. I'm going to attempt to Nibiru here. They're going to negate, popping that guy, and special summoning out Ubel, which is just going to die and go to the graveyard. Anyway, we do get to set Blaze here. I don't know why I do this, but who knows? It might be useful. Anyway, out comes the second, or the other Spirit of Ubel as well, off of the Yama, since the card was destroyed via the Ubel. I do have to pay 1,000, which sucks, but we're going to go for the Sengagen, which we did grab Onk here. Now, I know the problem is, I'm only playing 2 Incarnate. Realistically, should be playing 3. I just didn't have the third one to craft. So realistically, you should probably be cutting like Ding or Ausa or something else along those lines. Just cut something for the third one. Realistically, that's what you should be doing. I'm just bad. Anyway, we're going to special summon out to the Golem here to grab up the Temple. And then I'm going to normal summon an Exodia. What are we doing? We're going to go for the Dark here. We're going to steal their monster and then go into Unicorn. Now, this is a bit of a goof. And here's why this is a bit of a goof. Because I should have gone for SP. Now that sounds... Well, okay. It's only kind of a goof. It's not really that big of a deal, all things considered. And you'll see why in a second. I do have the Underworld Goddess, so I could have potentially made like Underworld Goddess here. But alas, now I can't because I don't have a link to. But I'm just going to make Phoenix here. We're going to go for the Phoenix effect. We're going to pop this guy. And then I'm going to go for the SP anyway. And just banish their monster that I can't deal with because it can't be destroyed by card effect. Not that big of a deal. We're just going to shuffle back our 2 Exodia monsters. Or Forbidden One cards. And realistically, shouldn't have done that. That was kind of just stupid. They're just bricks. So that's not really doing anything now. Oops. It's fine. Anyway, they're going to special summon back this guy and activate its effect, and I'm going to go for the SP Little Knight to just banish here, and they get to set the trap card, and then back comes this guy. We're going to nuke the field. Out comes the Ubel. Ubel's just going to off itself, and yeah, I'm feeling pretty good. We should have this in the bank. We draw Fuwa. That's fine. I'm going to take 1,000. I'm going to special summon here with the Onk, and it gets ashed. Well... that's fine. We'll just place the Golem here. We're going to go for the Golem effect here, and then just grab up the Wedju Temple, and then we're going to go to combat here, and I should have lethal, right? I am 6, not even 6, I'm 400 off. Shit. So I make the Silhouette Rat, because that way I don't immediately die if they have Nightmare Pain, which I know that they have in hand, and any way of getting any monster on their feet. Son of a bitch! This Ubel player drew so insanely well, it's kind of crazy. They saw both of their Nightmare Thrones, which is just... wild to think about. Anyway, I'm going to banish the Spirit of Ubel, because if I don't, I die. Anyway, they do get a special summon here. Except they didn't. They shuffled back their Phantom to just make Phantom, and then attack the Silhouette Rat. Okay, sure. Not really that big of a deal. And I should theoretically still have lethal here. Let's see what I can do. I draw a triple attack, which is actually pretty interesting. So we're immediately going to go for this guy, and then I'm going to activate the Silhouette Rat, which realistically, now that I'm thinking about it, I think there may have been a better way of doing this, but all things considered, I think it still ends up working. They're going to pop here, for the U-Bell, I'm going to go and take... I should have taken the U-Bell here. I don't know why I don't. Anyway, we go for the Access Code Talker. I don't activate this primary effect. We're just going to pop the entire field here. So we're going to banish. We're going to pop the U-Bell. And, shoot, maybe I shouldn't have done that. They special summon, put back the Phantom, and I pop here. And if they have... Oh, they don't. If they had the Ultimate Nightmare there, I'm cooked. Yeah, pretty much. So... I could have potentially, like, made something else, maybe, I'm probably just dead there most of the time, though, so there's that. But they didn't, so, good job. We did it. Wild. Alright, so here we are going first against a 60-card deck, so you know it's on some sort of shenanigans. But our hand is onk, onk, onk. So we're looking pretty good. My opponent Ashes the first Onk. That's fine. We'll get it anyway. We're going to go for the Wedju Temple in order to just put the Onk into the back row and then immediately go for Onk there. Now we can go and reveal the Onk so we don't take an additional 2,000 in order to grab up Golem. Golem is then going to activate its effect in order to reveal again and special summon to grab up a second Wedju Temple. And then we can link those two off into the Rat in order to set the nothing imperm. That's fine, I'll just activate the Onk. Onk effect is going to resolve, and we're going to reveal all 5 of the Exodia pieces, arm and a leg and an arm, and then the Exodia, and there he is. Out comes the Unstoppable, and we're going to set the Exod during the end phase and pass the turn. We still have Nib as well, which is pretty cool here. My opponent's going to Fusion Destiny. Now, here's the thing. I could have negated the Fusion Destiny there. The problem is, there's 2 lines of thought here. Right. 1, it's hero, in which case this card alone basically kills them, so not really too concerned about that. Sure, they can get DPE, that is frustrating, but this guy doesn't die to DPE, and then I just sit here and stare at them, because what the hell else are they going to do? Or 2, it's not hero, and DPE basically entirely invalidates the rest of their deck, and they can't do anything. So... those are my 2 options. However, I do activate my Heart of the Blue Eyes, which does have a graveyard effect, which says, if this card is in your graveyard and you successfully activated a Millennium Onk this duel, and your opponent normal or special summons a level 8 monster or a 3,000 attack point or higher monster, level 8 or higher, with 3,000 attack point or more, you can send that card to the graveyard to special summon this card. That is a once per duel effect. That is a very complicated way of saying they didn't activate their DPE, and now it is gone forever. Anyway, out comes Malicious. Malicious into Denier. Denier is going to put back the Malicious. The Malicious is then going to be linked off, or with the Denier, in order to go into Cross Crusader. Cross Crusader is then going to special summon out the Malicious, tributing the Malicious for the Vion. Normal summon of the, Malicious effect first here, in order to go into this guy, which is the Infernal Devicer. The Infernal Devicer is going to reveal in order to grab up from their deck the Neos, and then they're going to normal summon the Vion in order to dump Mist, in order to grab up the Liquid Soldier, activate the Vion in order to grab up the Polymerization, which is absolutely what I'm going to negate if they activate it, and then they're going to banish here, and we're going to go into Dread Decimator. Sick. They're going to go to the they're going to go to the battle phase. Why did they go to the... Sure. Anyway, we put my guy into the back row, and then they set a card, and I go, no. Anyway, set another one? Cool. That's why we play 2 of it. My opponent just concedes there. Because, I mean... yeah, they're dead on field. Well, technically not, but technically, yeah. So, yeah, good game. All right, here we are once again going first, and, hey, look! Onk! So we're going to activate this in order to grab up Onk. Fantastic. Now we don't have to pay our life points, so we're going to special summon it and then reveal and then grab a second Onk because, hey, as many Onk as you can get, baby. We're going to then special summon this guy by also revealing another Onk in order to grab up Golem, and then we're going to activate the Golem, and then we're going to put the Golem into reveal. You get the idea. Anyway, out comes the Rat. Activate the effect, grab up the Azure Rune, and then we're going to activate the Temple, put the Fuwa into the back row just to put an additional guy onto the field, basically. Reveal 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pieces of Exodia, leg being last. Shuffle back the 2 cards that we don't want, and passing the turn. We do have Droll and Lockbird in hand as well, which is pretty interesting. And that's... huh. What's a choice? Axe of Fools. Who the hell plays Axe of Fools? Oh, it's Makong. Wait, what? It's Hero. Yeah, I don't know. I no idea what's going on. Sure, dude. I activate the Droll here. They activate the Called By. I just allow it. Sure. I'm going to activate the Azure Rune here because I'm worried about the Cross Crusader. Like, if they special summon Cross Crusader here, like, being able to negate that, or negate the summon of that is, like, extremely useful. So, for the most part, I feel like that's okay. Also, if you're wondering why I didn't, like, negate the Axe of Fools, or, like, why I'm not concerned about this in any capacity, is because, genuinely speaking, the Exodia can just activate its effect. This doesn't, like, prevent me from activating. So I can just activate the effect and then blow up the field, dealing with the Axe of Fools and still getting the negate. So, cool. Anyway, my opponent summons here. They're going to go for it. No? Did you ever forget that that card's just, like, not banned? Anyway, out comes the Polymerization. Sure. They're going to go for the Malicious. Sure. Out comes this guy. They're going to go for the... Cross Sheep. Yeah, that's, I'm not ISO'd? Wait, do we only play the one? Anyway, hero players. Alright, we're back with the deck, and honestly, this deck is pretty simple and pretty interesting. Sure, it doesn't actually do all that much, but what it does is pretty impactful, right? The big Exodia can just immediately OTK the opponent if they don't have anything. You have easy access to Ankh, which is one of the best quote-unquote fusion spells in the entire game, because it can't be ashed or like interacted with basically in any capacity, which is really cool. And on top of that, it's just a very simple to play deck. Like, it does kind of two things, but again, those things are pretty impactful, right? Being able to put out the Exodia Incarnate pretty consistently is very nice. Now, the problems are, it has a whole bunch of dead cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 6, technically. 7, 8, 9, 10. You see my point. It's one of the reasons why we're playing 44. Because, genuinely speaking, there are just a lot of dead cards. However, because each individual card does the full combo, and while it's not a whole ton as well, it makes it a very good deck overall. Not top tier. It's not competing with, like, Fiendsmith stuff. But, that being said, it's still a very good deck. It's a very solid deck, it does some fun things, and it's very unique. All in all, I do really enjoy this deck, and I find it very enjoyable to play. And, most notably, it's great for new players. It's also incredibly cheap. Like, you need 3 Incarnate, 3 Sengenjin, and that's it. Everything else is either staples or optional, right? Like, you don't need Dingiru, you don't need the Silo Hat Rabbit, you don't need any of the Nightmares, or Axis Go Talker, or this, or that. Like, yeah, you could use Shifter, but honestly, it never really came up for me. It's not bad, it's just, you don't need it, right? You don't need the Super Polys or anything like that. So, very cheap, very interesting, and overall, solid deck. I thoroughly enjoy it. Anyway, that's going to be it. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys did indeed enjoy it. If you did, I like us very much. I appreciate it. And remember to always stay frosty. Bye-bye. Shout out to the Frost Guard, my members. Thank you guys so much for the support, and I hope you enjoy the content.